Hey everyone, I'm with the mighty Jess Craven. You know her, you love her. Chop wood, carry water. Great commentator, great activist from my home state of California. She's on the streets of LA. She's been calling out how people have been organizing against, masked armed agents of the state. I call them Gestapo, cracking down on skulls. And I've had a fantastic lineup today. We had Gil Duran, also in California, talking about the Nerd Reich and the Broligarchy. We had Katie Fang, who brought all the fire about this corrupt administration and how we have to hold them accountable. Because, of course, concrete in human form, Tom Homan, did not deny yesterday, did not deny, he's the border czar, folks, did not deny that he took literally a bag of cash, $50,000 in a Cava bag in an FBI sting operation. So we got that going. Apparently, if you want to save yourself from the Gestapo cracking your skulls, give Tom Homan $50,000. You got Donald Trump openly, I think, butt posting a message that was meant for Pam Bondi, but then got posted on Truth Social, Jess, where he's talking about going after his enemies, including Letitia James and Comey and Adam Schiff. You got his deranged speech today at the UN. It was bad, folks. It was like the old racist grandfather with dementia who
Yeah.
got the mic at a wedding. And then you also have the hagiography of Charlie Kirk. And you have the poll numbers, and the poll numbers have come out and showed that Donald Trump, no bueno. But before we continue, I want to say this. I'm very proud to say this, that I'm independent, like Jess, and I started this Substack. I thought, Jess, if I could get 10,000 people, it'd be a win last year. I have now 85,000 subscribers, which is, for me, it's small, but it's a big deal. And I've kept everything for free. And along the way, I've never done any type of because I'm a terrible capitalist, Jess. I've never done
Yeah.
like what do you call it, a slideshow. I've never pitched anyone, but a couple of weeks ago, through Qasim Rashid, our mutual friend, I got introduced to Ground News, and Ground News said, "We love what you do, and we want to partner with you." And they said they also partner with Jess and Qasim. And then I said, "Well, what do you do?" And they have this fantastic website, and I'm going to actually link to it. Don't worry, I'm going to drop it in the chat. Where I call it a one-stop shop. It's a fantastic aggregator. Literally all the news around the world, local, national, and international, around one issue is on that website. But what they also do, and I think they're very useful for our audiences, people like me, Kasim, and Jess, as we try to sift through the bullshit, is they also do an audit. They're aggregators and auditors. So for each literal story, you can see who funds it, right? Who's the funder behind this publication? Number two, where do they lean? Left or right? And then number three, bias, how truthful they are. And then they also have something called blind spot, where it's a specific, section where they show the blind spots of right-wing media and left-wing media. And Ground News said, "Hey, we love what you do. Can we come in as a partner?" So my first partnership was with Qasim Rashid. My second partnership with Jess, who they also support and partner with, and they're giving Left Hook subscribers 40% off the Vanguard plan. I'm going to send the link there. So it's started by a woman, a brown woman, NASA scientist. It's independent. They're subscriber based, and the people who have gone there have said it's very, very helpful and useful to them because they support people like Jess and Qasim and Mehdi Hassan. I'm on board. I'm gonna actually take a second to put down the links right now. But Jess, is anything you want to say about Ground News?
Yeah, and I will just say, like, this is not my moment to talk about Ground News, but I will say that I also agreed to partner with them, which I never do. That's not my thing. But I believe so strongly in what they're doing because they are also a literacy tool, a media literacy tool. And they are teaching, like, I open it up and I read, they've got everybody from the furthest right to the furthest left on there. Some people say, oh, I don't think they should have those far right, but they're showing you what everybody's saying. And so you really get a sense of, like, oh, this is the perspective I never see. And that's important for us because we live in media bubbles. And I've also found some great new news sources from it. They source from like 50,000 different news sources. So I think it's really terrific and really valuable and something everybody could use.
Thanks, Jess. And the reason why, honestly, the reason why I did it is I did my research. I'm like you, Jess. I'm very careful. I had 3 conversations with them. I'm like, tell me what you're about, who funds you, who created you. And then I saw who they were supporting, and they were supporting Jess. I didn't know that. They were supporting Qasim. They're supporting the IHIP ladies. They're supporting Mehdi and Zateo. So I said, these are good folks. And then I reached out to Mehdi and I reached out to Qasim and I talked to them. And then they gave me a free trial run. So I actually tried out Ground News and I'm like,
Yeah.
solid. So try it out. I don't get any money from this. If they give all Left Hook folks 40% off, I do not get any money from it. If it works out, let me know. And if they can improve, let me know. I'll tell them. And Jess is here because Jess is independent and she is on the ground. She is on the grassroots. She, like me, is trying to make the Democratic Party better. She is like me, trying to organize all of us against fascists. And I actually want to end the day, if you will. There's not 100 people watching on some good news. We're not, pie in the sky, Pollyanna optimists. We're pragmatists, but I believe. Jess, even though things are so scary this week, I believe what we witnessed with the Charlie Kirk Memorial turn into a Christian nationalist political rally was actually weakness performing as strength. And I saw Donald Trump today at the UN was weakness performing as strength. And I see him threatening to send the National Guard as weakness performing as strength. And I think they know that people are waking up. I think they see the poll numbers. They see he's at his lowest ratings since any other president, since Donald Trump in the first administration. Latino voters who've gone from him have left. They're back to the 2016 numbers.
Yep.
All the young people left. He's negative double digits in the economy.
Yep.
He's negative on immigration. He's negative on Epstein files. His base is cracking over the Epstein files. Candace Owens is spreading conspiracies about Charlie Kirk's murder. His base is also upset about the economy. Soy farmers are literally, unfortunately, tragically killing themselves, folks. And also, his base is cracking on Israel, Palestine, America first. And ABC, like friggin' weak ass, I won't even swear, they bent the knee. But guess what? We came out with our money, and this country loves money more than anything, Jess. And now Jimmy Kimmel's back tonight on air. What, if you disagree with me, have at it. But I think this week shows that the majority has the ability to flex. That's my rant. I yield the floor to you.
Absolutely. First of all, I don't think I've ever disagreed with you on anything. You're like you're my soul brother. I think we are very, very kindred spirits. But I think this moment with Disney was a huge deal. And I was just reading about it from one of my organizer newsletters. They were talking about how we have taken some time to sort of figure out our reaction, our rapid response, right? When bad things happen. But this time it was seamless, it was fast, it was
Mm,
unanimous. You know
mm.
what? That announcement was made Thursday night. Friday afternoon at noon, I went out to a protest at the Disney gates and it was packed. And it
Oh,
was
sweet.
people drive. Oh, I made a video about it. And then I made a video about it and that went viral. And you could just feel there were people texting me who don't really ever text about politics who were like, okay, what do I do? I know I'm going to cancel my Disney Plus. What else do I do? You could feel this moment of everybody going, he overreached. He overreached. And that's the thing. Yes, this is absolutely weakness posing as strength. He has no strength. This is a man who has no inherent strength. He's empty inside. He's empty. He's afraid. He's insecure. And so he keeps lashing out to make himself look powerful. And I really want people to stop for a moment and see what we just did. Disney was not going to capitulate. They were
Nope.
not going to. That was a done deal. They, from what I read, they lost 1 million subscribers in 4 days. Now, those
Woo.
numbers will take a while to actually come out, but that's from The Handbasket, who got it from a source at Disney. That's another great publication, by the way. We made
And
a
basket.
huge, The Handbasket, fantastic. We made a huge dent in their bottom line. And it is true that ultimately, no corporation cares about political parties. They have no fealty other than to their bottom line. And so when we take action together collectively, and I don't think it has to be boycott financial related, but I think that is one very powerful lever we have. They back down so fast and so completely. And yes, Sinclair is still doing the wrong thing. Nexstar is. But now the boycott has moved to them. And now we
Mm.
know what to do. We're going to go after the people who advertise on their stations, AT&T, Allstate. There's one other big corporation that is on Sinclair stations. We're going to find them all and we're going to contact those advertisers because people are beginning to figure out what works and they're beginning to figure out how to share that information quickly. So for me, this was a real turning point. Yeah, Charlie Kirk thing. I don't know why people watch that. Everybody, I saw these people on social media going, oh God, this is so horrible to watch. Why are you watching? They're fascists and they acted like fascists. That's what
There you
fascists
go.
do. They hold big, scary rallies where they lie and like do a bunch of Christian nationalist stuff. It is terrifying. Don't watch it. Go write a letter to Sinclair and tell them you're boycotting their advertisers. Like, there are productive things we can do. Watching fascists be fascists, for me, is not one of them. I don't want to watch that shit.
I'm a masochist, and I'm so glad you didn't watch it. I did, and I watched it just to see how they think, and it was very revealing to me. I call it the Horst Wessel moment for MAGA, and I've seen the Charlie Kirk's murder is the Reichstag fire. I'm still waiting for the Reichstag fire. Still might be the Reichstag fire. And Stephen Miller's actual speech was literally almost word for word, almost word for word, crypt by the 1932 Nazi speech. The storm is coming. So if anyone, they get upset at me. Why do you call us fascists? Stop acting like fascists. Why
Yep.
do you call us Hitler? Stop quoting Hitler. Why do you
Right.
call us Nazis? Stop promoting white Nazi conspiracy theories. But
Yep.
what you saw was them trying to perform strength. And the reason why I thought it was weakness is I was in Canada, Jess, over the weekend, and I was watching myself and I was taking the temperature. The cult thinks that this is how everyone thinks. And I was in Canada and they're like, this is hella weird. This
Yeah.
is freaky. And even
Yeah.
in America, majority was like, that's some weird shit. And most of us aren't white Christian evangelicals, right? And furthermore, I give this example of even Charlie Kirk. My wife is a normie, had no idea who Charlie Kirk was. And she just researched him. She goes, oh my God, this guy's a freak. So I think them elevating Charlie Kirk to a martyr and then using and abusing Charlie Kirk's murder to go after Jimmy Kimmel so openly and nakedly, right?
Yeah.
That's another thing about power is you become arrogant and you become sloppy. For just to connect the dots, folks, because I know there's a lot. Brendan Carr, the FCC chair, who's a reek of Donald Trump, literally goes on Benny Johnson's podcast. Benny Johnson, for those who don't know, got fired from BuzzFeed for being a plagiarist, then went to their right wing. Him, Tim Pool, and David Rubles, who also is known as David Rubin, were working for Tenet Media. Tenet Media was a front for RT and Russia propaganda, and they said they had no idea they were being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a day to literally promote anti-American talking points. That Benny Johnson was the forum that Brendan Carr used, and he openly threatened ABC and in part threatened Nexstar and Sinclair and said we could do this the hard way and the easy way. Right after he said that, Nexstar, which owns a whole bunch of stations and wants to finish up a $6 billion merger that will give it 80% of the stations, and guess who can approve the merger? The FCC. Nexstar said, oh, no more Jimmy Kimmel. And then now Sinclair also said, no more Jimmy Kimmel. And folks, because of what Jess said, they saw the fact that people canceled organically. All these people came out. ABC's like, shit, we're losing money. And as of right now, Sinclair, which is owned by a hardcore Trumper, folks, and Next Star, which wants to finish the merger, they've said we're not going to bring on Jimmy Kimmel. So what I suggest, and I want your thoughts about this, how we put pressure, you kind of alluded to it, on Next Star and Sinclair is ABC, in my opinion, should say, all right, we will not give you any ABC
Yeah.
programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. 100%. No, that is exactly what they should do. They should tell them you can't have any of our programming. You don't get to pick and choose which programming you show. But we can also put pressure on the advertisers. And actually, what is great about this moment, again, we were talking about the nimbleness of organizers right now, is that there's two living documents. One is a Google document, one is a website that got thrown up immediately after Jimmy Kimmel was suspended with ways to fight back. And those are updating now to how do we fight back against Sinclair and Nexstar. One of them is they're both in my newsletter today. One of them is in my link tree. So they're back there updating it. So now there's phone numbers for, calling affiliate stations like that. There's a search tool you can put your address in and it will tell you the two closest affiliate stations. I talked to somebody on the phone and told them I will be boycotting all of the advertisers to your station until you guys stop this. We can do this. We have to remember that money is God in this country. It is
There you
God.
go.
This is a
There you go.
hyper-capitalist country. All they care. Trump could literally set the Constitution on fire, and they would not care. But if their bottom line were being affected, they would suddenly become extremely patriotic about it. That's all they care about. It's
Someone
very sad.
someone just posted it. I'm gonna post it again. I think they got the link from you. I just posted it, folks, in the chat section. That's the doc that shows you the next phase.
Yeah.
And Jess, we're in sync. I have said that this country's religion is capitalism. In God we trust is right on the dollar. The only color The only color that trumps white in this country is the color green. That's all they care about. And if it comes between Trump and their money, they're going to choose their money. I know it's going to be tough for them. They're going to choose their money. But we have the numbers. And this is where, when the numbers organize, I think people say, oh shit, all this weakness, Jess, the weakness, the capitulation of ABC. I want to bring the receipts. ABC capitulated months ago, paid off Donald Trump almost $15 million, threw George Stephanopoulos under the bus. Folks, George Stephanopoulos did nothing wrong. He said the word rape instead of sexual assault. For all intents and purposes, even the judge in the E.
And
Jean
it was
Carroll
rape.
said, it's, yeah, those words were synonymous. So Donald Trump was held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll and for defaming her. George Stephanopoulos just said rape. Because we have our robust First Amendment and the New York Times versus Sullivan case, it would have been a 12B6 motion. Literally, they would have thrown it out. Just like New York Times, the $15 billion lawsuit he brought against New York Times last week, judge threw it out on day one. What did ABC decide to do? Bend the knee and pay him off. So then what happens is Trump said, oh, these weak people, I bullied him a little bit. They paid me off. I'll come back. CBS paid him off. I'll come back. All these corporate law firms, I'll come back. And I think slowly they're realizing, oh shit, this did not protect us. Qatar realized it. We're going to give them a $400 million jet. And Israel's like, we're going to bomb Qatar, even though you have the largest U.S. base outside of America. And we're going to do it with Donald Trump saying yes. And Qatar's like, what the F, man? We gave you a jet. So I think this is the overreach, what we're witnessing, the overreach of extremely dangerous, but extremely reckless administration that is a white Christian nationalist cult. And I think that Brendan Carr moment, I'm really curious about this. I was talking to Joy about this. The difference between what just happened with Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, was it the fact that they were so naked with their supervillain plot, Jess?
I thought about that a lot. Why didn't people freak out the same way? I think, for one thing, Disney is a very different organization than Paramount Plus, although I don't know, maybe Paramount is owned by Disney. I don't know what, but for some reason, Paramount is harder to go after. It's just more amorphous. Disney is this giant entertainment organization that all of our kids worship, or some kids, not all, but we give them a ton of money. They put out shows like Andor. They've always been about like doing the right thing and the honorables, the soul of the good princess. And then they come out and do this incredibly dark thing. But I also think that one could not have happened without the other. I think Stephen Colbert and Joanne Reed, there's been a lot of great people who have been removed from their jobs. And I almost feel like this was just a straw that broke the camel's back thing, where everybody sort of realized this is going to keep happening to every single person we love, and we've got to fight back. And you add that to the prices going up, the unmanageability in our medical, with medical research and the vaccinations and all of the other just absolute insanity, our farmers struggling, everybody, not able to afford basic necessities. Trump, meanwhile, spending $200 million on a ballroom that nobody cares about.
Yep.
I think that we are actually hitting our let them eat cake moment. And that Americans, it was a dam and it burst. And now my hope is, and my confidence is, that just like corporations can look at Trump and go, oh, well, look, they gave in to him and it didn't really serve them. They can look at us and go, if we do this, the American populace is going to be pissed off. Look what just happened to Tesla. Look what happened to Target. Look what happened to Disney. If I'm weighing my odds, maybe I don't want to piss off the American consumers right now. And that is what we are building a track record. We've destroyed Target. We've
Yep.
largely destroyed Tesla. And a lot of people are not going to go back to Disney and Hulu. I know a lot of people who are like, I am done. I
I
am not
canceled.
going back. So that is a huge blow to their brand that may take them decades to recover from. Who's the next company that's going to do that when Trump is failing across the board and everybody can see it? It'll be interesting to see.
It was, it's the world's worst. I told you so, but it was a prediction. And when I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. But when I'm right, this is the small victories that people like you and me have. I said, once Donald Trump starts hurting the bottom line of even the Rogan bros, once their ratings go down, once he's going to F up, because he's going to F up, it's inevitable. Once he starts hurting the corporations, that's when you see people slowly turning on him. And what's happening right now is just as saying, folks, he's underwater. This economy is no bueno. It's going to be bad. He overreached on immigration. Stephen Miller has overreached with the National Guard. Now, because of Donald Trump and his overreach against immigrations, he's literally made immigrants great again. Gallup just said that it's the highest rating for immigrants in years. Americans are more pro-immigrant, and a lot of Americans are really worried that their colleague, a loved one, a neighbor, or a friend will be kidnapped and taken by ICE. Overreach. It's all
Yeah.
overreach. Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk making him into a martyr, a hate monger, a man who literally, we have his clips. He was literally against the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah.
He said MLK was a horrible person, anti-transgender, anti-LGBTQ, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-woman, right? Praising David DePape for almost killing Paul Pelosi. White supremacist replacement theory. This is the man that they have elevated next to Jesus. Well, actually, it's Jesus, Donald Trump. Well, it's Donald Trump, Jesus, now Charlie Kirk. And I say
Yeah,
this
for sure.
without any exaggeration. Massive overreach, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they canceled and are canceling and threatening people for their martyr. Karen Attiel lost her job because she quoted Charlie Kirk. Matthew Dowd, a white guy, lost a job because he quoted Matthew Kirk. Historically, black colleges got threatened. Even though it was a white on white crime,
Yep.
black colleges got threatened, right?
Yep.
I got death threats.
Yep.
And now they're saying you better praise Charlie Kirk the right way or else. Or else. And then they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel. And this is where I have to ask you a question, Jess, because I was talking to Joy about this, and also talking to my co-host Danielle, both are black women. When we meet the point, you know, you're a mom of a transgender kid. First, it came for transgender folks. Democrats didn't say anything. Threw the woke under the bus. They came after pro-Palestinian activists. They didn't go fight for Mahmoud Khalil. They went after brown folks like Brego Garcia, and the only person who fought for him was Chris Van Hollen, because
Yep.
senator from Maryland, right?
Yep.
Threw all the woke under the bus, and we kept saying they're going to go after the whites.
Yep.
What is it about? And I've said this. I know people might like it. This week proved to me white skin matters more, white lives matter more, white rage matters more, white tears matter more, and white grievance matters more. And so it might be up to the whites to actually lead this.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, it is up to the whites. The whites created this mess. And this mess is 100% a result of white supremacy and patriarchy, but white supremacy most of all, right? That's the
Yeah.
reason we didn't elect Kamala Harris in the first place. That's the reason that, basically everything that's happening is happening because of that. And so, yeah, it is 100% on the whites. And that's why, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, whites really kind of suck at getting active and fighting in this fight because they are privileged and they mostly are able to stay on the sidelines until things get so real that they go, oh shit, I better kind of get involved. And that's probably part of what we saw this week. Probably part that Jimmy Kimmel is white. Speaking as a white person, I'm embarrassed for my, genre. But the truth of the matter is that, yeah,
Your
I guess
genre of white is my favorite white. You were the 45% of the queens. This genre, the genre of Jess Craven white, even though it's not a majority, it's growing. It's a fantastic genre. I strongly recommend on Netflix finding the Jess Craven genre of white. They've been on the right side of history, the 45% of white women who knew the score and didn't vote for Donald Trump. But I do believe it's one of those situations where when white people get pissed off in this country, Jess, this country pays attention.
Yeah, it's true. I just wish that they would be more pissed off now and would have been pissed off enough to never elect this person. It's hard. It's hard to accept how many people in our country volunteered us for this. It really is. I'm not proud of being a white person in moments like this, but I do. It's not even but, and I do know that there are lots of good white people who have
Yeah,
been doing this work for a long time
absolutely.
and are continuing to, and we need more of them. We need more of them, and we need people who wring their hands and go, "Oh, this is really terrible. I hate this." To do something. It is not enough to say I hate this and then do nothing. Um, it is not a moment where we get to say, oh, well, I just can't handle the news. I mean, I understand the news is really overwhelming and it's upsetting. But this is a moment where when people look back and go, what were all the Germans doing when they were putting Jewish people in concentration camps? Well, they claimed later they didn't know, but the truth of the matter is they didn't want to know.
Yeah,
They did not look to know. And so, honestly, it is a very important moment to ask yourself, how will I be viewed by history?
that's
Will I
right.
be viewed as one of the Germans who just didn't want to know? Because that's not going to feel good, right? People will ask us what we did in this moment with people, Latino and other people in ICE detention centers being essentially tortured,
That's
right?
right.
What did we do? What did we do when people were being killed on the street by ICE? What did we do? What did we do when Donald Trump was basically setting the Constitution on fire? What did we do? And just wringing our hands will not count. in the sort of cosmic tally. We've got to stand up. And maybe that just means putting a sign up in front of your house that says fuck ICE or whatever. Maybe it means going to your first protest on October 18th, the most important day we've had so far of protest. Maybe it means going and standing on a street corner with, undocumented people who are looking for work for 2 hours a week every week. There are a million ways you can help. Maybe you're a spreadsheet person and you can start putting together a boycott spreadsheet of like, here are the companies supporting Sinclair. There's a million ways to help. Everybody can find something to do. But frankly, at this moment in this part of history, we really need to. If you're white, you got to get busy.
And
Please.
and the
I
and the
beg of you.
reason why the reason why I wanna stress that is, folks,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, and I'm in the imagination business. I started off as a writer. I wrote a play, and I was, supposed to go into Hollywood and do this and that, and it was pretty successful. But wrote a short story, and then I moved up here to DC for my wife, and was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then Al Jazeera America came and said, "You want to be a co-host of a show?" And that's how I got into this stuff. I never would be on camera. I was always a writer. But speaking about the imagination business, I always try to imagine just what would happen if 1,600 brown and black folks decided to, I don't know, protest on January 6th
Oh,
and do what they did. And all I see is chalk lines in my imagination. Like, we
absolutely.
would be shot and killed. There's no way.
Yeah.
And there is something powerful in this country about seeing a lot of white folks on the front lines with black and brown and Asian folks, but a lot of white folks on the front lines. And then when this country will crack the skull, or God forbid, try to crack the skull of a blonde white woman, this country would be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
And so tell us about October 18th and why we need so many faces, so many people, but really a lot of white folks to show up and show their
Yeah.
face in the front lines.
I will, but I do want to call out. Someone just put in the comments, good organization to follow, and I wholeheartedly agree. Is Surge, SURJ, which is showing up for
Just saw
racial
that.
justice. Great organization, calling white people in and giving you very concrete ways to help, from like winning local elections in southern states to all kinds of things. But they're phenomenal. I have friends who work for them. Great organization. But October 18th is the next No Kings protest. And as you all remember, we had a No Kings protest a month or two ago. We had somewhere between, 4 and 5 million people turn out,
Yep.
arguably the largest single protest in American history. But we're really trying to get to about 11 million people, at which point we hit that not crossroads, the sort of line of 3.5% of our population. At which point, that is when we start to see if you can sustain 3.5% of a population in peaceful protest. You start to see systemic change. You start to see governments overthrown. So, peaceful protest. No one is asking for anything but you getting a sign and going and standing on the street. It is fun. It is incredible. You will feel uplifted and part of a beautiful community. But I am hoping we get 8 million, 9 million people out into the street, maybe more. This is
If
the
we could get
moment.
even if you can even, increase that 5 million to 8 to 9, I mean,
Yeah,
let's aim big and try to get the 11. But even if you get to 8 to 9, that means inshallah the next one, the month later, because this guy's gonna keep effing up. He's gonna get more
absolutely.
desperate. It's all overreach. He realizes. And folks, I'll tell you this, within the Trump administration, they're saying he's not healthy. So the reason why everything's being amped up, the reason why Project 2025, which was a 4-year plan, they're trying to execute it in one, is on the deal. They think King and Daddy ain't going to last. If
Yeah,
not dead, but incapacitated. And what they want to do is control up enough power that they can just hand that power to someone who's less popular, but it won't matter because they have gobbled up all the power. So JD Vance is the one they're grooming. So this is what's happening. He's going to get more and more desperate because he's a rabid rat. And you're seeing that desperation. Everything over the past week is desperation. So more and more overreach, right? And I'm glad Jess, you brought up the 3.5% number. Again, history shows that if you get 3.5 to 3.3% of the population engaged in inshallah, in nonviolent, organized, peaceful, beautiful, joyful type of resistance, governments topple, right?
yes.
And that, again, with the economic boycott, you could get even more people. So you got this boycott happening. You got people with economic boycotts, but you also now we have a problem. We have a Democratic leadership, Jess. And I
Mm,
have said, folks, we need to cull the party of the weak ones and strengthen it. I'd say, Jess, it's just me, I criticize them to make them better. I
yeah.
know that they're only the only political weapon I have right now, right? That's just the reality, two-party system. I do not have faith in this leadership. I have faith in many of these individuals who are emerging, but this leadership is not made for this moment and built for this fight. I will give an example, and then I will yield the floor to you about what Democrats should do. 95 Democrats, overwhelmingly white centrist, with
Yeah.
two black Democrats, which includes Hakeem Jeffries, the leader, voted with Republicans to honor Charlie Kirk. Jess, your response.
I mean, okay. Yes, they did that. The Republicans had set them up, bundled them up with
Yeah,
a resolution that also said, I condemn political violence. But even so, it's a no-brainer. You really think that people are going to hold you to this? I voted for a resolution that I won't vote for a resolution that doesn't condemn Of course, people would have understood what they did if they had done the right thing, and they did not. That was stupid. More stupid to me is the fact that what I'm beginning to gather, and you and I have talked about this many times, we need new leadership in the
there you
Democratic
go.
Party, is that I was on a call with, let's just say, a congressional Democratic representative today who I talk to his staff sometimes. I'm not going to say who it was.
Sure.
But the general gist I get is that most of the Democratic lawmakers have also lost confidence in them. They don't feel that they are getting the communication tools they need, for example, in this shutdown fight, where Democrats are actually standing on extremely firm ground. We are demanding the Medicaid cuts be reversed and
There you
that
go.
the ACA premium tax credits be extended indefinitely. That's what they're demanding. But is that the messaging we're hearing? No. We're not. And when I asked this staffer to clarify for me exactly what Democrats were demanding, even they could not clarify it because it hadn't been clarified for them. And I'm like, if you don't know and I don't know, then nobody out there knows. And that is the problem. It is a messaging problem. It is a communication problem. But ultimately, our Democratic lawmakers are the ones who have to decide together. We can replace these leaders and we must, but they're not going to do that until we make a colossal amount of noise about it.
There you
Every
go.
time you call your representatives for any other reason, tell them again, you need new leadership. And this is nothing personal against Schumer or Jeffries. I'm sure they're great guys. I'm sure that under normal circumstances, they would do fine if we were just doing the normal business of some fictional normal government, but we're not. We're not. And we need Jedi fighters at this point, and they are not that.
And
So,
and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you this next. I think one of the major, if you will, weapons that we have that we can use to weaken this fascist regime is influence the Democratic leadership to not just shut down the government, but just don't show up. Let them do it.
yeah,
And don't fund it, folks. This is happening next week. There should be no reason why Democrats in the House and the Senate are complicit with this administration and to fund this government, which has been used as a weapon against the majority, which has been used to fund the ICE to crack skull, which has been used to destroy the Department of Education and USAID, which has been used to gut our experts in every single agency. Why are Democrats who are not the majority in the House, who are not the majority in the Senate, why would they be complicit in keeping this government open? And when Senator Schumer effed up in the past and went against his own base and at the last second made a deal to fund the government, right? Because it's the right thing to do. What happened, Jess? They said, you suckers, you fools. All right, we'll pass the big, beautiful bill and we'll destroy Department of Education and we'll gut the Veterans Affairs and we'll have Doge take all of your information. They didn't give a shit. So I think it will hurt Republicans. Hey, you got the majority. You got the House. You figure this
yep,
shit out. You
yep,
go get the votes. We're not going to fend this. We're going to get Medicaid back, take these ICE Gestapo agents off the street, stop misusing the National Guard, right? Rehire experts at the CDC. Like, I'll make a list of 7, 8 things and say that if you do all this, then we'll do it. If not, all right, we're not going to be complicit in your march towards tyranny. I think
right?
it's a win. I have no faith in Schumer, though. I really
No,
don't.
no. Well, no, what they're asking for, they're not asking for all of that. They're asking for the Medicaid cuts reversed, the ACA premium tax credits, but they're also asking for guardrails around so that Trump and Russell Vought can't just decide to take back funding that Democrats or that Congress has already passed. So they're trying to put some guardrails on them. That's not as much as I would have asked for, but fine. It's a really good start. Go out and defend it to the American people. They will stand with you. The problem is they're so worried about what their political consultants are telling them. But Americans are going to back the ones who go out and make the argument. Democrats are willing to fund the government as long as you give us our healthcare funding back, as long as you help people pay for their ACA health insurance, as long as you stop taking away appropriations for children's cancer funding. for public broadcasting, for public schools. Stop all of that. And yeah, absolutely, let's keep the government open. I mean, yes, I believe also ICE out of our cities, National Guard out of our cities. But, I'm fine with them not asking for every single thing I want. I do think ICE is really, really important, and they should be asking for it. But again, right now, they're asking for a decent amount, and they just need to go out and make the argument, because otherwise what happens is we shut down for a month, then we reopen, Democrats win no concessions, and it
Yep.
just it's a big cluster. You know what?
Hakeem Jeffries, 22 minutes ago, I think he's trying to refine the message. I will read what he said in Blue Sky. Democrats do not support the dirty Republican spending bill because it continues to gut the healthcare of the American people. Okay, so you're going to talk about the healthcare crisis. Maybe that'll be the winning point. And then you leverage that and say your BBB cuts $1 trillion from Medicaid and gets people off of ACA. I can't fund that and I can't support that. That'd be smart because the two most popular programs in America are Social Security and Medicare, right? All right, but be consistent. Ramp this up. Fight.
Yes.
I do not need like they got to shut this down.
Yep.
I cannot. They cannot because Schumer at the last second, folks, and of course we don't know, but we kind of know is that he stabbed his own Democrats in the
Oh,
back.
yeah.
And at the last second, they said that a Wall Street funder or donors said, "Hey, it's going to be bad for us if we shut down the government." And at the last second, he did a 180 and then corralled about what was it, 10 other Democratic senators after he had the nine and reopened the government. I don't have
Yeah.
faith in him, Jess.
Yeah. Nope. Oh, no, I don't either. Don't get me wrong. I have zero faith. But again, we were sort of trying to get out of a forest fire. We have a car that runs to get in and escape the fire. All we can do is get in the damn car and
That's
yell
right.
at it as we drive, right? Like there's unfortunately no other vehicle to get us out of this immediate emergency. So, yeah, carrot and stick. When we hear lawmakers doing the right thing, we call them and say, thank you, you're doing great. Keep doing more of that. And then with Schumer and Jeffries, we just call and tell them to toughen up and
Yeah.
then communicate. Jeffries has a way of communicating, doing press conferences that nobody watches, and then using these very consultant polished words like the dirty bill, which I guarantee you a consultant told him to use.
Yes.
Just talk to us. Just talk to us. Go do a live and just talk to us in human terms about what you're fighting for. I feel that Americans have really soured on politics talk, and they just want people to talk to them, not
Hakeem
consultant
Jeffries
speak.
will talk like this and then try to rhyme, and he thinks that he will be cool and that
Yeah,
people will listen to Run DMC, and people are
yeah,
like, just stop
yeah,
it. Uh, I like the car analogy. I'll add on to it. We have to strengthen the car. We have to give it a remodel. We have to work on the engine. We have to take out all the old parts that aren't working. Now, old is not a
yes,
pejorative. I'm talking about the dull parts. So as we're in this car, the only car that we have that is, basically going off of three wheels right now, we have to strengthen and retool this car.
yep,
And that's where I need a culling. I need and I know they're listening, folks, because in my lifetime, I never would have imagined a majority of Democratic senators voting to stop sending arms to Israel. That happened.
yeah,
I would have never imagined the fact that they would be listening to they still haven't listened completely, but the fact that a majority of Democrats say enough of the genocide, enough of apartheid, enough of the occupation. And they look at the numbers and they look at the fact that people are not gravitating towards Democrats. In normal politics, with Donald Trump's horrific numbers, it's been terrible. Normally, the other side benefits. The other side ain't benefiting. So there's all these people who are like, you give me a message. And if I like the message, you inspire me, I'll jump on. And if you don't, I won't jump on, which is why when we criticize them, we realize this is the only car that we have. I want to strengthen the car. I
yeah,
want to ask you two last quick questions, Jess.
yeah,
One group that has been thrown under the bus repeatedly by everyone is not just LGBTQ but transgender kids.
yep,
And you're a mom of a transgender kid. Your appeal to those Democrats, and I've heard many, throw them under the bus.
yeah. Yeah, it's just wrong-headed. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong-headed. It will not get you where you think it's going to get you. And educate yourself. Educate yourself, because I guarantee you that what you are saying is wrong. The most shocking thing to me is when you get someone like a Pete Buttigieg or a Gavin Newsom saying, "Oh yeah, it really is an issue of fairness." And when you look at what actually happens with trans athletes in sports, which is by the way 14 of them in the entire country, it is not at all the way people describe it. Same with gender affirming care. Like, these things have been blown so far out of what they actually are. So stop attacking the most marginalized community in the country. Less than 1% of America is trans, right? And what percentage of that is youth? God knows. These are children who feel rejected and turned on by everybody.
Mm.
Champion them and watch people come to you. We want to see champions of the marginalized. We will support you. The entire country will get your back if you have the courage of your convictions. And your convictions should be everyone, no matter their gender identification, their color, their zip code, their party, deserves to live in peace as themselves, as who they identify as. It's not hard. The rest of this is partisan bullshit, if you'll excuse my saying so.
Yeah, yeah.
And turning on the trans community, particularly the young ones, is a guaranteed way at this point to make sure that your political future is short, truncated, and unillustrious, quite frankly. Because the kids are paying attention. Let me tell you something. My kid is 15. Every time a Democratic lawmaker says something like what Buttigieg says, I hear about it in 5 minutes because they
Yeah.
come to me with a stricken expression on their face. But you know what else they say? This is why I don't like Democrats. This is not a way to build a party that lasts into the next generation, because the next generation is not like that. They are tolerant and open, and they are not clamping down on trans rights. That is not where they're at. So,
And also for you, it's personal, and I'm doing this because I'm running out of juice. So just give me 2 minutes. This is what
yeah,
I do for the rest of you.
I love this.
But also, the Republicans spent more than $200 million to create the transgender boogeyman. $200
Yep.
million, and people fell for it, and they said, "Oh, not my kid." And they allowed that Trojan horse to come into America, and then MAGA soldiers came out, and they went after what? The undocumented,
Yep.
legal immigrants. Jimmy Kimmel, Muslims, pro-Palestinian activists, after all of us. So people learn the hard way. It isn't going to end on transgender people. And I also say this, and I'm glad you mentioned this, less than 1% of the population, there are more anti-transgender bills than transgender athletes.
Yeah.
And so when Gavin Newsom threw transgender communities, especially kids, under the bus in his interview with Charlie Kirk, did it help you? Did it help you to go Republican light? It did not. It
No.
hurt you at the base. So you cannot throw Palestinian activists under the bus. You cannot throw Jews under the bus. You cannot throw Muslims under the bus. You cannot throw white people, white women, white workers under the bus. You cannot throw immigrants under the bus. It's all of us. It's all of us. And then one piece of, well, it's dark humor. Some good news. It's a terrible news. Terrible news, but let me tell you why it's good. It's terrible news. I informed Jess right before we went on. She had heard about it, and I gave her a little bit more details. The New York Times broke this investigative story where Elon Musk's father has allegedly, since almost 30 years, been allegedly abusing 5 of his children. That's the terrible news. And apparently, the New York Times says that these family members have come to Elon Musk for help, and he apparently hasn't helped them. Now, that's terrible news. And let me now, from a political angle, say Epstein files and now the Musk files. The way this country works, this is the one thing, Jess, that over 80% of independents, Democrats, Republicans all want is releasing the Epstein files. Talk to us about now this. This is something that with the culture wars can unite a whole bunch of people and also weaken MAGA and Musk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I haven't read the article yet, so I'm not super informed on it. It's really tragic. I mean, it is
It's
tragic.
terrible.
The sexual abuse of one's own children, like, this is a common thing, and it's a horrific thing. It ruins lives. And for Elon Musk to sort of continue a cover up on this, if that is what he does, is really horrible. There is a more persistent stench around Republicans and people on the right in general, which
Yep.
is a cover up of sexual abuse,
Yep.
sexual assault, particularly of children.
Yep.
And I mean, we saw it with Donald Trump. Was it yesterday or today? He's talking about the hepatitis B vaccine. He says, you don't need to get that until you're sexually active. So kids should be getting it at 12. Hello? What? I'm sorry? That's when they're fully formed, he said. No, they're not. No, they're
Yep.
not. As the mom to a 15-year-old, no, no, they're not. But we see it over and over again. There is all of this very twisted stuff that is sort of beneath the surface of today's MAGA Republican Party. And so does that surprise me? No. Will it cause more schisms in the party? I have no idea, because these
But
people
also
tend to
accountability.
rally.
You need accountability.
You do need accountability. You 100% do need accountability. And someday I pray to God we have it for all of these people.
Yeah, and
I,
all these, I always want to remind people, listen, um, there were girls, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell raped girls,
yeah,
and now they're women. And so this is an issue where you should jump on it and get accountability for all the victims. You should, and I'll say this, Jess, I think you agree with me. I don't care if Democrats are on the list. Go Bill Clinton, Democrats, liberals, my favorite comedians, if they were proven to be part of this sex operation, this cult that preyed upon and raped girls, damn them all to hell. Damn them all.
absolutely. Yeah.
Expose it all.
Yeah. If I had a family member on the Epstein files, I would want that. God forbid, I would want that out. No, we want it out. All of them. And I guarantee you there are Democrats on the list. It's going to be cross-party. There will be people from all over the spectrum. We need to know who they are. And you guys, the fact that this is still not coming out is shocking.
Yeah.
It is shocking. The Kash Patel has actually done such a 180 that now he's saying, well, Jeffrey Epstein didn't really traffic to anybody. Now we
Oh,
think
yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
to himself. What? What? And where are all the podcaster bros? Where are they? Where's the outrage as it becomes absolutely clear that they've all been lying through their teeth about this?
And Virginia Giuffre, before she died, Virginia Giuffre, who was, by the way, folks, 16 years old, an employee in Mar-a-Lago because her father was a property manager. That's where she was picked out and groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell. Then, promised her with, great opportunities. And then Ghislaine Maxwell fed her to the wolf, Jeffrey Epstein. Virginia Giuffre said that she was passed around like a platter of fruit to
Yeah.
powerful men. And Virginia Giuffre was the one that said it was Prince Andrew. She's the one that named Prince Andrew. She unfortunately, they say, killed herself. She had a tragic life. And apparently her book is coming out. And now Elon Musk, who is all about protecting the kids. And by the way, Elon Musk, and the reason why I'm kind of took it personally and I call out Elon Musk is he accuses Muslims of being groomers. He's promoted these horrific groomer conspiracies that have led to mobs chasing black and brown people in England. This is why I say, folks, it's all disgusting and dirty, but this is the type of weird karma that it's all projection by these people, right? They come after the rest of us, and then you find out in their closet, his dad allegedly, according to this New York Times investigation, allegedly 5 kids have said he's come out and they've appealed to Elon Musk for help. So these people have these demons in their closet. There are real victims, and I think it's up to Democrats first for accountability, decency, the right thing to do. And also, this is where look, folks, this is what, if the shoe, God forbid, is on the other foot, this would be the number one news in right-wing media forever. Forever. And they call us child pedophiles. That's the QAnon conspiracy. Meanwhile, it's all projection because allegedly this is happening there. So I think you jump on it. This is, I think there's 3 Achilles cankles for Donald Trump, Jess. The economy, his health, and Epstein. I don't think he can escape from it.
And corruption. I really, and I know we're closing, but I really hope people will continue to focus on the staggering corruption in the Trump administration. It's not just Tom Homan accepting a bag full of $50,000, of bills and then having that case dropped. It is the people. I did a piece today about the people who Trump has pardoned, the white collar criminals, who have had $900 million in fees between just 3 of them dropped, restitution they were supposed to make to their victims because Trump's SEC just said, you're done because you donated to Trump before the election. You're pardoned and you're done. His children are enriching themselves. Trump is enriching himself in office. His children are trickly enriching themselves. And it goes on and on and on. The corruption is staggering. And just please continue to talk to your people about it because it turns out corruption, political corruption, when you look at polling and focus groups across parties, everybody hates it. Everybody recognizes it. Everybody knows what that is. And it is rampant in the Trump administration. And we can't let it go. I think it's really important. I think it's another Achilles cankle, as you said. And I really want to encourage everyone to keep talking about it. There are so many articles. I don't have time to make all the videos. Find them, share them, talk about it. Follow ProPublica. They do amazing work on this. Other smaller publications follow people who are actually doing this kind of investigative work.
And I will say that I'm so glad you mentioned the other people. The one example that had just slipped under the radar is he pardoned Ross Ulbricht. And if you don't know who Ross Ulbricht did, he is the founder of Silk Road. And Silk Road was the digital
Yeah.
hub for sex trafficking, weapons trafficking, drug trafficking. And Donald Trump pardoned him. No one's asked why. That guy was serving a multi-year sentence. And folks, the reason why because it's always a grift, the major reason why people say he pardoned him was because Silk Road was a major hub of crypto, and the crypto bros love Ross Ulbricht. So, folks, I agree with you. I think most Americans are disgusted by Epstein because he is disgusting. I think most people are disgusted by the corruption because we still haven't got an explanation why Ghislaine Maxwell. We still do not know why Ghislaine Maxwell got that sweetheart deal and is now doing yoga in a minimum security camp. The person who's talked a lot about, release the Epstein files and protecting women is Elon Musk. According to the New York investigation piece that just came out, allegedly, his father has been molesting 5 of his kids, and those kids have reached out to Elon for help. Keep this in the news.
Yeah.
Speak out. Full court press. Jess, your mom has exquisite taste. Jess told me her mom watches me and listens to me. So thank you, Mama Craven. Jess, shamelessly promote yourself before you leave.
Oh, I don't need to. I have a newsletter called Chop Wood, Carry Water Daily Actions. It's right here on Substack, so you can find it there. And then on social media, I am at Jess Craven 101. And that's it. That's enough promotion out of me.
And folks, and look at I'll link to the document, Jess' newsletter. For those who've joined us, the 2,400 people, we'll have it up on my Substack and Jess' Substack. But we also give tools and tips of how to actually use your dollar to do economic buy-ins and boycotts. And some people on this chat have sent the document, but I'll try to link to it. So Jess in her newsletter has an awesome document that's a living, breathing document right now, giving you advice on how to boycott Next Star in Sinclair. And look, we have the numbers. Our boycotts worked. Jimmy Kimmel's back on air today. And then on October 18th, you have a massive No Kings rally. So do everything that you can. If I may, quote Andor, which was released by Disney, rebellions are built on hope. And if you haven't seen the show Andor, it isn't about super-powered Yodas or lightsabers. It's average Jose's and Janes who do not have superpowers, and everyone has a role to play. Everyone does their part. Death by 1,000 cuts. That's how you take out a fascist regime. And hope is contagious, but so is courage. The more and more people hear you speak out, the more and more people see you speak out, the more it inspires them to say, oh, we have the numbers. Donald Trump and MAGA is weak. We won't be bullied and we won't be threatened. Follow Jess. She's great. Jess's mom is even better. Subscribe to Chop Wood, Carry Water. This has been The Left Hook. Be kind, be decent, and please, oh, please don't be a fascist. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, Waj. Thanks so much, you
Bye.
guys.